If you ever wake up feeling like something's off in life and you can't put your finger on it, then stick around, because I've got 5 reasons why you could be living somebody else's life without even knowing it. Sign 1, you ignore the inner voice that says there's more. When I first started full-time work, I must have been not even that long, a couple of weeks in maybe. I woke up one morning after a big night out Friday, and I stumbled out to the kitchen, and Mum was there. And I said, before I even knew what I was saying, I blurted out, "You know, Mum, there's got to be more to life than working a job you hate, getting drunk 2 nights in a row, and waking up to do the same thing all over again on Monday morning." And she kind of looked at me with this strange smirk, and she didn't say anything. And I realized in that moment that she kind of thought that I had at least a decent point, but she didn't know how to answer it. And the thing that I learned since then is that it took me about 9 years to act on that little voice. And that's something that we do often in life. We just ignore that little voice and we just keep going through the motions of life, not really entertaining it or digging, looking for answers. And the reason why we do this is because of the fear of the unknown. The fear of disappointing others, the fear of losing income or status or starting all over again. And the truth is that the voice never goes away. It just gets buried under the busyness of our lives, until one day it's just too loud to ignore. So the second sign is that you are always seeking validation and you've built your identity around others' expectations. Now, a lot of people do this, including myself, and we often pursue things through other people's eyes based on what we think those people will approve of. Maybe you think your parents would only approve of a certain number of professions, so you pursue one of those, even though they tell you that you could do whatever you wanted in life. Or maybe it's something not even as big as that. Maybe it's just posting a certain photo on social media just for likes, or dressing to fit in, even though you don't really feel comfortable in those clothes, or saying yes or agreeing with people just to be liked. And the problem with this is that if we're constantly chasing other people's approval, then that choice isn't really yours, it's theirs. The third sign is that you've confused success with fulfillment. This happens a lot in life because we do what we're told. We're always told to study hard, get a good job, and we'll be happy in life and successful. And yeah, we might hit that level of success, or we might not, because not everybody that goes down that path does. But what almost everybody realizes is that fulfillment and success aren't the same thing, because it's not the destination, in this case the financial destination, that makes you feel fulfilled. It's the actions that you take along the way that make you feel fulfilled. And so the paradox is that a lot of people have achieved a lot in their professional lives, but very often don't feel like they've achieved anything. And I know some people that have said this to me. And the reason isn't that they haven't achieved anything. The reason is that they haven't achieved anything that their authentic self wants them to achieve. Reason 4, and this is a huge one, you've stopped dreaming for yourself. I feel like these are all really big, and I used to dream of becoming a musician, and at some point during this personal development journey, I said to myself, I'll just reconcile with the fact that I won't ever do music in this lifetime, which looking back now is crazy, because I started music 4 years ago, and I've done a lot since then. But I think it's a thing that we trick ourselves into thinking, I just won't be able to do that dream, whatever it is, when all you have to do is just get started. Like, you're not going to make money with it straight away. You may never make money with it unless you know how to monetize it. But as long as you get started, that's what's going to make you feel fulfilled. That's what's going to make you feel accomplished and successful. And that's really the feeling that we're chasing here. It's not necessarily financial success. If you're already financially successful, you don't need to start a new path for financial success, unless you want to pivot, of course. And a lot of people, they can list what other people want for them, but not really what they want for themselves. A few years ago, I was appointment setting for this business, and everybody I spoke to, bar none, when I asked them what their goals were, they all told me the same thing. They all said, I want a car and a house. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with either of those things. But when your goals are the same as everybody else's, then whose goals really are they? Because I would imagine that all these people are individuals. They all, if they really sat down and thought about it, their real goals, they might want those 2 things. But if the question was, you can have anything in your life that you want, and they said those 2 things, then they're not really dreaming big enough, are they? So the moment that you can ask yourself what you really want and actually sit down and think about it is the moment that you start to reconnect with your authentic self. And I'm not talking about what looks good on paper. I'm talking about what you want, big or small, things that you want in your life that light you up. And that's when the real dreaming begins. Sign number 5, you stay busy to avoid yourself. So what do I mean by that? Well, a lot of people make themselves really busy so they don't have time to sit with themselves and sit with their thoughts. I know that, when you're working full time, you want to make the most of your free time. And so you pack your weekends full, like I used to. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when we're constantly busy, we just don't get the time to reflect. And sometimes the opposite could be true. Sometimes we're so drained from the work week that we end up just sitting around killing time because we don't have anything to do, waiting for the Monday again, which is even crazier. Because if we just stopped to smell the roses, so to speak, and really think about things, we would feel how misaligned we are. But because we are so busy, we drown ourselves in tasks, we can convince ourselves that the way we're feeling is because we're so tired, because we're so busy, when in actual fact, we're feeling that way because we're misaligned. And we do this unconsciously. It's a coping mechanism, just like finding an escape in any one of a number of different things, like food, drugs, alcohol, sex, movies, video games, things of the sort. Because sometimes the hardest thing isn't doing more. It's sitting still long enough to feel where it hurts. So if you want to build a life that's yours without quitting a job or changing careers, click the link in the description and get instant access to my Something's Missing Bootcamp, where you'll find a mini course that will help you realign with your authentic self, your values, your passions, and help you build a life of meaning and fulfillment.